Your phone lights up, 8 in the morning, birthday messages. You look, you register the names, and then nothing. You put it face down and go make coffee. Meanwhile, someone you know woke up today already excited about their own birthday, sent a voice note, planned the evening, told 3 people what time to arrive. Same date on the calendar. 2 completely different nervous systems running underneath it. People call this the surprising reason some people treat birthdays normally, or the strange psychology behind not caring. But here's the question almost nobody actually checks. Is it sadness? Is it maturity? Or is what's happening under that calm, quiet Tuesday feeling something a lot stranger than either of those? Because there isn't one mindset behind people who skip birthday celebrations. There are several. They look identical from the outside. And by the time this video ends, you'll know exactly which one is actually running underneath yours. Here's the part that makes this interesting. Every explanation you've probably heard, they got hurt before, they're just mature, they forgot, treats this like it's one simple story. It isn't. There are at least 6 separate psychological mechanisms that can produce that exact same flat reaction. And most people are running 2 or 3 of them at once without ever realizing it. Let's go through what's actually happening underneath. Prediction error fatigue. Here is what most people don't know about how the brain actually processes events. It is always running a quiet comparison. What did I expect versus what actually showed up? The bigger that gap, the stronger the emotional signal. When you were 5, birthdays came loaded with anticipation. So even something small felt enormous because the expectation was enormous. But the brain updates its model every single year. It's already seen the candles, already heard the same handful of voices sing the same 6 notes. The event stops being new, and the gap between expected and actual shrinks toward nothing. What's left isn't disappointment. It's a brain that simply ran out of surprise to react to. Attention triage. For some people, it is not that the birthday got dismissed. It just never made it to the front of the line. When you are managing deadlines, obligations, a list of things that actually demand something from you right now, your mind starts making decisions about what gets real attention and what gets quietly pushed aside. Your own birthday is just a date. It does not send a follow-up. It does not escalate. So sometimes it just loses. This isn't the same as not caring about yourself. It's a nervous system so occupied with staying afloat that a symbolic day doesn't register as urgent enough to interrupt everything else, even when part of you wishes it had. The checkpoint effect. Here's something worth noticing. The people who say their birthday means absolutely nothing. Even they usually spend some part of that day thinking differently than they would on a random Wednesday. Something happens anyway, because certain dates have a way of functioning like forced pauses, moments where the brain checks in with itself whether you asked it to or not. New Year's Day does this. The start of a new month does this. A birthday does it hardest of all because it's the one date that's entirely, unavoidably about you. So even someone who skips the cake completely will often spend part of that day quietly reviewing their own life, asking questions they wouldn't think to ask any other day of the year. Internal anchoring. Psychology has consistently found a meaningful gap between 2 kinds of people. One group needs the outside world to confirm that they matter, the messages, the attention, someone making a thing of the day. The other group carries a sense of their own worth that does not really shift based on whether the room notices or not. For the second group, a quiet birthday isn't a loss. It's simply a day that doesn't need to do extra emotional work because their sense of mattering was never running through an external channel to begin with. Confuse this with coldness, and you'll misread it completely. It's closer to a nervous system that's already settled. Echo memory. This next one is uncomfortable, but the research on it is solid. Your body does not just store memories the way a filing cabinet does. For certain emotionally charged dates, it can replay a faint version of the original feeling on the same calendar day, year after year, almost without your conscious awareness. If several past birthdays carried real hurt, being forgotten, waiting for something that did not come, your nervous system starts anticipating that again as the date gets close. Even 30 years later, even when nothing in your actual life right now looks anything like those old situations. The person is not upset about this birthday. Part of them is quietly bracing against several old ones at the same time. Internal anchoring. Psychology has consistently found a meaningful gap between two kinds of people. One group needs the outside world to confirm that they matter. The messages, the attention, someone making a thing of the day. The other group carries a sense of their own worth that does not really shift based on whether the room notices or not. For the second group, a quiet birthday isn't a loss. It's simply a day that doesn't need to do extra emotional work, because their sense of mattering was never running through an external channel to begin with. Confuse this with coldness, and you'll misread it completely. It's closer to a nervous system that's already settled. Echo memory. This next one is uncomfortable, but the research on it is solid. Your body does not just store memories the way a filing cabinet does. For certain emotionally charged dates, it can replay a faint version of the original feeling on the same calendar day, year after year, almost without your conscious awareness. If several past birthdays carried real hurt, being forgotten, waiting for something that did not come, your nervous system starts anticipating that again as the date gets close. Even 30 years later, even when nothing in your actual life right now looks anything like those old situations. The person is not upset about this birthday. Part of them is quietly bracing against several old ones at the same time. Identity mismatch. There is a well-documented pattern where people actually respond better to feedback that fits who they already think they are, even when the alternative feedback is genuinely positive. So if someone has settled into a quiet self-image, the one who does not need a fuss, who moves through the background by choice, having a room turn toward them and make them the center of something does not always feel like a gift. Sometimes it feels like being handed a version of yourself that you never agreed to. This isn't low self-worth. It's closer to friction between who you're being treated as and who you've already decided you are. Ending weighted memory. How someone feels about this year's birthday has surprisingly little to do with this year. Memory doesn't keep a full, accurate replay of an experience. It keeps the emotional peak and the ending, and lets those two moments stand in for the whole thing afterward. If the last few birthdays quietly fizzled out, a message that never came, an evening that just deflated, the brain doesn't file those as unrelated years. It files them as a pattern and predicts this year off that pattern before the day has even started. So what is actually going on for you? Maybe it is one of these cleanly. But honestly, for most people who sit with this carefully, it is 2 or 3 running together at the same time, all producing the same surface reaction, the same quiet Tuesday feeling, so nobody ever thinks to ask what is underneath it. Here's a question worth sitting with for a second. If nobody remembered your birthday at all this year, not one message, would it feel like relief, or would it feel like something you'd quietly pretend didn't sting? Your honest answer probably tells you more about which mechanism is running your birthday than anything else in this video. Tell me in the comments which one actually explained yours. And be honest, because someone reading the comments after you is probably looking for the exact words you're about to type. There's actually a deeper layer to this we haven't touched yet. The specific pattern that decides which of these 6 a person ends up running, and whether it's something that can actually shift later in life. If you want that video next, say so in the comments, because you really don't want to miss that one. If this explains something about your own birthday today, subscribe. We go digging into exactly this kind of hidden psychology every week. Before you go, let's test which psychological mechanism resonated with you the most. Answer these 4 quick questions in the comments below. Question 1. Which mechanism explains why birthdays feel less emotional as you get older? Because the brain runs out of surprise. A. Attention triage. B. Prediction error. Fatigue. C. Echo memory. Correct answer. B. Prediction error. Fatigue. Question 2. If someone ignores their birthday simply because work and daily deadlines take priority, they are experiencing A. Attention triage, B. Identity mismatch, C. The checkpoint effect. Correct answer A. Attention triage. 3. What is it called when your body replays old emotional hurt or past disappointment on the exact same date year after year? A. Ending. Weighted memory. B. Internal anchoring. C. Echo memory. Correct. Answer C. Echo memory. Question. 4. If you don't need external birthday wishes to feel valued because your self-worth is already steady, you have A. Internal anchoring. Prediction error. Fatigue. C. Identity mismatch. Correct answer. A. Internal anchoring call to action. How many did you get right? Drop your score, 1 took 4 to 4 took 4, and tell us which mechanism explains your birthday reaction in the comments. Don't forget to comment next if you want part 2 of this video.